Well, good morning, my YouTube friends. Guys, this morning I'm gonna go on and harvest some tomatoes. This will be my first tomato harvest this year. And I'm writing on them with a marker because like these are F91s, Florida 91s, and I haven't never eat them. So I'm marking these tomatoes so I can kind of keep up with which is what, which ones, you know, when we eat them, see which ones we like if I want to grow them again. Also, when we go over here and get some off these hydroponic buckets, I'll mark a H on them to let me know that they come out of the hydroponics, so I can test to see if we can taste the difference from tomatoes grown in soil versus hydroponics. Now we got a couple of these purple boys. They still a little green on the end, and then one on that other purple boy over there. But now I hope these purple boys do have the taste like they supposed to have, because I'm loving how they are loading down with tomatoes. So I'm probably not gonna get as big of tomatoes as I could, because I actually said I was gonna keep like 3 tomatoes per cluster so I could get bigger tomatoes. But I just been so busy, I'm like, they just gonna have to do what to do, and we get whatever size tomatoes we get. But I know if I kept like 3 tomatoes to a cluster, when they started making little tomatoes, go on and prune them off. But you can see every cluster here has 4 tomatoes. Some of them's got 5. And it's steady loading down and steady making blooms. So when I give them that shot of that, and actually you'll be seeing that come up on a video, I think. The day I done that, I think I made a video of my new fertilizer injector, which will be coming up later on because I ain't got it edited. Of me giving them a fertilizing them, I think that was 10-30-10. A 10-30-20 liquid fertilizer, and when I did that, it made these tomatoes start loading down. But I'm gonna leave these here on there a little longer. They still a little green on top. This is the Hossinator. Of course, they ain't gonna pick today. There's one little Celebrity Plus right there. I think I'm gonna, no, it just fell off. So if I touched it and it fell off, it might as well be pick time. But that's a little small tomato. But the Celebrity Plus here is kind of running behind, but now it is starting to load down with some more tomatoes. I don't know if y'all can see. It does have a good many, tomatoes on it to be no bigger than it is. That's a little wonky looking tomato there. Look like two tomatoes grown together on that one right there. But here's the Hossinator Cicada STM2255. This is the one I was really wanting to harvest today, because it ain't gonna sit in the house but about 2 nights, and it'll be plumb red and ready for my first BLT. But what I'm curious about, I'm wanting to do the taste to see if these hydroponic tomatoes is as good as the ones grown in the soil. So I'm putting Hoss and then another H right there, and I know that's for hydroponic. And I'm gonna walk around to the other side right here. And off of that, it's a Celebrity Plus plant, which is new to me. I've grown Celebrity before, but not the Celebrity Plus. And one of them's just a little baby tomato, but hey, I eat it. I'm writing it down here on the end, because most of the time you cut a tomato, you ain't gonna eat that little end piece. I don't want to get no Sharpie taste in my mouth. And it looks like we may have a Hossinator over there ready to pick that's grown into the ground. So we will be able to do our Hossinator soil versus hydroponics here in about 2 days when these two finish reddening up. Now some like to leave them on the vines till they get plum red, but I have issues with that because when I try to let them get plum red on my vine, usually something, a bird will peck them or squirrel will eat into them or something other. We'll put a G on this one for ground. So, in a couple of days, right here on this same video, we're finna cut these two and we're gonna do a taste test. Now, Sharon and I have already done a taste test on the Summer Dance cucumbers. And y'all can see that right there. I don't know, I might leave it on till this afternoon here in the morning. But we feel that these are so close that if we wasn't eating them side by side, we probably wouldn't know the difference. But eating them side by side, and we done it 2 different times, we think the ones that's grown in the soil, which out of my raised bed water trough over there, we think they had maybe just a little smidgen on the winning side of the taste over the hydroponic one here. But now like I said, we both agree that if we wouldn't have been doing them side by side, we probably wouldn't have never known no difference. And I'm hoping that's the way the tomatoes are. I got to tie my squash up. I done fooled around. It's wanting to lay over. So I gotta get it tied up this morning. But as y'all can see, the rattlesnake green beans are starting to make beans. So even though this garden had me ready to pull it up at the get-go, wanting to start over, everything now is doing great. The only problem I had this year, like I said, I couldn't grow no Catarina cabbage. My broccoli was way behind getting started, even though I planted it out. I don't know, I just had a rough start, but everything's looking good now. So I'm finna harvest what needs to be harvested. Like I said, I gotta tie my squash there up. It should have been tied up a couple days ago. It's leaning over. And see if I can touch up on a little tatty-doos out here this morning. And we harvested yesterday, but there'll still be a couple of cucumbers and a couple of squash. Y'all seen our cabbage that we put in the crawfish bowl? You ain't never done that. You boil crawfish, buy you a cabbage if you ain't got one you're growing, and throw it in there. But let me tell you, you put it in there, you don't leave it so long. You pull that first layer off. Don't try to eat that first layer. It soaks up that seasoning, it gets so hot. The next few layers will be good to eat. And then when you start getting down to where it ain't got enough seasoning, just have it in your little bag like we did and drop it back in your crawfish bowl a couple of minutes. Take it back out, eat on it throughout the whole bowl. Everybody seemed to like it that ain't never tried it. Now that was my first time to ever try yellow squash and green egg squash, and we tried asparagus, but we messed up. We put the asparagus in the same bag as the squash, so when we put the squash in there, of course you didn't leave it long because you didn't want it to get mushy. And guys, the squash, everybody, and I know I didn't get it on camera because that wasn't a, you know, I was just trying to get clips of our crawfish bowl and put together something there, but the squash turned out great. It had just a little bit of a crunch to it, but yet it soaked that seasoning up so quick. It wasn't too hot, but it was seasoned all the way in it. Now the asparagus, it should have stayed in there longer. And truthfully, nobody really cared enough for it that we didn't even put it back in there. Even though it wasn't totally done, it could have been softer. It was just, it just didn't do it. I mean, the cabbage and the squash, whatever variety, zucchini or the green egg, they was all good. But the asparagus, everybody agreed, yeah, it ain't worth doing that. It's better ways to have the asparagus. So we was just playing around since I had stuff out of the garden. Now, of course, the asparagus wasn't out of the garden. I got asparagus growing down there. Done let it go and it's 8 foot tall again, but we had bought the asparagus and just had it here. And when I come got the squash, I seen that and I said, well, let's experiment with that too. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna try to do some things up this morning. In a couple of days when we cut them tomatoes, making our bacon tomato sandwich. Guys, I think the criminal squash would work better with just a wood stake drove by it to keep it tied to instead of that string. You can see I done got behind on that one and it was growing, done laid over growing on the ground. But you can see that little fella lows down and with them little yellow squash, and we've been getting several little squash off of there. So them little squash down there on the bottom that's about that long, tomorrow will be, cause we like eating squash small, cause they more tender, and we cut them about that long. Cause there's actually about that much that's kind of laid over now. It comes up and then does that now the way I got it tied. But I'm liking these little squash, but I think a stake would have been a lot better than the string. But this is my first year to grow them. And next year when I plant them again, I'll probably stake them. Plus I'm testing them in them beds over there. That's where I'm really thinking I'm gonna like these. I can put them in them beds, but I can still use wood tomato stakes. Well guys, this bed here was the bed where I cauliflower and whatever left in the other beds didn't make it. I kind of put what was left in here. And we actually gonna get 2 little heads of cauliflower. And actually that right there might as well gonna be cut. Cause it's still tight, but it ain't gonna grow much more. It's gonna start loosening up. And then we got one right there. I may leave it a few more days. It's starting to loosen up though. But now I don't know what variety these was after I pulled them out of their other bed and just stuck what was left growing in here. We got 2 little cabbage plants. I don't know if they ever make a head of cabbage. That was 3 little Catarina cabbage that was out of the bed. This asper broccoli here, I'm gonna let that go to seed. We just harvest the tops of them. That'll be enough for us to nibble on as it makes more, and I'm gonna let this go to seed, and maybe it'll self-seed this bed for next year. So I did manage to pull off one. Ain't that big, but we didn't get skunked. But at the same time, according to what variety that is, cause one of them 33-day varieties, that's about as big as it's supposed to get. So I ain't sure which variety that is. Guys, it is my favorite time of year. Yes, it is. Now, some people say Thanksgiving or Christmas or 4th of July for barbecues their favorite time of year to get their favorite foods for eating. Well, I tell you like this, anything you cook for Christmas, anything you cook for 4th of July, anything you cook for Thanksgiving, I can cook any time of the year. But this is my favorite time of year when these first maters start coming off there. And I get to make my BLTs. So right now we got some, what is this here? Hickory thick cut bacon real wood smoke. Before I ever open it, I'm going to cut it right in half. And I'm going to take one half of this and I'm going to put in this Ziploc bag. Because we'll be eating bacon and mater sandwiches about every other day. Or at least I will. Put that in a Ziploc bag and put it right over here in this outside refrigerator, which is also known as an ice box for country folk. I'm going to turn my little electric skillet on. I like frying bacon outside because you know how bacon is. Usually when I do it inside, I use the air fryer. We're going to throw them thick cut bacons right in there. Now, one of my favorite bacons we buy is that thick cut peppered bacon. But apparently she didn't see none because she got this right here, so I'm not complaining. When I eat bacon and mater sandwiches, I like some pretty good bacon. I don't like cheap stuff. Now that cheap stuff I like to use to wrap that venison steak cooking on the grill. Because it don't matter if it's got a lot of bacon or a lot of fat when you're using it to wrap other meats with. But I'm going to get that in there and we're going to turn that on high and get that to frying. Let me go wash my hands real quick. Now while that's frying up there, I'm going to take my watermelon knife here. It's just the first one I grabbed and it works real well. I got 2 Hossinator tomatoes. That's the Cicada STM2255, and we like these tomatoes. I grew them last year. But this one here was one of the ones that come off the plant that was grown in the ground, because I'm wanting to do a little taste test here. And this one's the one that come off the Hydroponics. I'm wanting to see if I can taste the difference. I got a plate. I'm going to slice them, put them on, stick them in the refrigerator for that time being. And I got it marked where I can put the ones that grew hydroponic on one side and ones that grew in the ground on the other. So I'm going to slice these tomatoes. Y'all see that watermelon knife? How good it slices tomatoes. I got that when I was out in Texas. That's the ones that was grew in the ground, so I'm going to put them right over here on this side. I don't know if Sharon's going to be home in time to get on this little taste test or not, but I know she'll eat a bacon mater sandwich when she gets home. She ain't got to work for a couple of days because the storm come through and broke her power pole down, and I got the power pole to the shop stood back up, but then we had to wait on the electrical company to come hook it back up. And The tomato right here that come out of the hydroponics is the bigger tomato. So right now, before I put this in the refrigerator, I'm going to have my little taste test side by side to see if I can tell the difference. Now, earlier in this video, I said me and Sharon has done it a couple of times with the cucumbers, the summer dance cucumbers, the ones that was grew in the soil versus hydroponics. If we wasn't eating them side by side, we both agree we wouldn't know the difference. But eating them side by side, two different times we done it, we think the ones with the soil, grew in the soil, had a little better flavor and actually had a little better coloring in there. Now the tomatoes right here, which one's bigger than the other one, the ones that was grew in the hydroponic is actually the prettiest tomato today. So I'm going to take a bite of it first. I'm going to go get me something to drink to wash my mouth out. Plus I need a fork to flip this bacon with. Now I'm going to eat the one that was grown in the ground. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to get it where I can take a bite of each. Guys, the cucumbers, we agreed we could taste a little different side by side, but that tomato, I can't taste no difference myself. So I'm going to set these in the refrigerator, and then we're going to get our green egg squash ready to put on the grill. And if Sharon gets home in time, we'll let her do a little taste test. But my green egg squash, speaking of that, I need to turn my little grill on. We're going to slice that baby up and put her right here in the pan. We actually ate some of this yesterday when my daughter, son-in-law was here. They love them too. And actually, one green egg squash is too much for 2 people. I'm going to do 6 pieces and we probably won't eat all 6. Now I'm going to put this in a Ziploc bag because we just outs to, or me anyway, outs to just cut me some and throw on the grill for dinner tomorrow or for supper. Now even though I've been getting one of these green egg squash every day, sometimes 2 a day for a good about 6-7 days now, I don't like wasting them. And plus I give them away. Like today I left to go mow. I've been mowing all day. And I was actually carrying them to the first lady, but she wasn't home. So it ended up the 3rd yard I mowed. That lady was the lucky lady for today who got yellow squash, zucchini squash, green egg squash, cucumbers. I think well, it was more than a dozen. I think that's 18 fresh eggs. And that's what I do with a lot of my gardening stuff now. I take it to the people I mow to. A lot of times I put it in there and the lucky one's the one I go to first. Well, she wasn't home, so the lucky one today was the 3rd one. But I try to over time make sure they all get some. I'm going to turn that electric skillet back down there by 350. I'm going to take my olive oil, and I'm going to get y'all up here close. I'm going to take my olive oil, which I keep out here in my outside, well, that white refrigerator ain't a refrigerator, it's a storage. And I'm going to sprinkle that around. And I know I done this on a video a few days ago. But if you ain't never tried this, you really need to try it. Now today, we just going to eat black pepper and salt on these. Every time we eat them, we put a different seasoning that we like. And sometimes new seasoning's just trying. But then sometimes, like today, I'm eating a bacon and tomato sandwich. I'm just going with salt and pepper. This is black pepper. I'm going to sprinkle a little salt on there. Salt comes out way faster than the pepper does. And to me, I'm one of these that all this stuff about salt, I'm sorry. I think salt is salt is salt. I don't care if it's pink salt, white salt, sea salt, mountain salt, dug it out of road ditch salt. I think salt's salt. The only thing I think's different, one's cleaner than the other. Ain't none of them good for you if you eat too much salt. Now we're going on with a little black pepper after I put that olive oil on there. And guys, we use olive oil, avocado oil, sometimes coconut oil. But most of the times what I use is whatever's convenient without me having to go in the house. If I'm in the house, I may grab something different. But now them's ready to go on the grill. What I'm going to do, I'm going to lay something over it so the flies can't get on it until I see if Sharon's going to be home in time. If she ain't, I may have to cook and eat wider. Now this bacon's getting fried up here. You can see it's got a lot of fat on that pig. I'm going to flip it over. I like my bacon crisp, but not burnt. When I bite a piece of bacon, I want it to crunch. I don't want it to be chewy. And you see that pan there's a little tilt where that oil runs to the side. And actually that's good for cooking. Because I can bring this up here and let it brown on up and let the oil run all down there. There we go. Now I'm going to get me another pan. I just got me a paper towel to cover them green egg squash till I get ready to throw them on the grill. I ain't going to stick them in the fridge. I'm going to go feed this to the chickens. And by the time I get back, that bacon will be done. And I'm going to take it out and put it in a pan and cover it. I don't know about where y'all at, but the flies is terrible around here. And what I don't understand, guys, is you can get up under here where we try to cook and stuff, and there's flies everywhere. You can sit on that pool deck and the flies don't bother you. I can go out there around the rabbit and chicken pen. Now, yeah, there's some flies around the poop buckets and stuff, but they ain't like everywhere. You come up here and try to sit down under this top, and I have sprayed the ground several days in a row with pure Clorox. I've tried spraying pine sol. Now, I don't want to spray no poison up here. But I've been trying things because it just don't make sense. You can sit right here and the flies just bother you. You move 10 foot over out from under this top and they don't bother you. So if y'all know a trick to getting rid of flies that ain't actually a poison, please put it in the description below. So they are aggravating the crap out of me around here. Well, I'm actually going to just put this bacon right here in this metal pan. Because I may have to move this little show in the house. I don't know what time Sharon's getting in. But I'm going to put that right there, set that top over it so the flies can't get on it. When that cools, I'm going to go dump that grease out and I'll wash this up and have it ready for the next day. So, guys, I'm finna take a little break right now. Wait on my wife to reply back if she's going to get home in time or not, or if it's going to be late. And then I'll turn the grill on and grill her eggplants. And I'm gonna get me some of that light bread and mayonnaise, bacon, tomato, and I got a little bit of lettuce, but my lettuce, what little bit I still got going on, I'm having to be picky with it because it's getting on that bitter taste as hot as it is. So BLT is supposed to have lettuce on it, but I don't know. I don't want to mess up a good tomato bacon salad by putting some lettuce on it and it be bitter. Alright guys. Sharon says she's gonna make it home to get in on this taste test. So right now we about to put our green egg squash on the grill, and when she gets here we're gonna move this indoors. But for you who out there that's real observant, y'all notice I had my shirt on wrong a while ago? Here's the pocket. It was on my back a while ago. Yeah. Well, I want to tell you a little story here. When I come home from mowing and I've been hot and sweaty all day, I don't like to go in. So the first thing I do, I strip off my clothes, all of them, and I go for me a little skinny dip in the pool, cool off, and then I get back out and I dry off, put my clothes back on. Well, apparently I put my shirt on wrong. Hey, it is what it is. I am what I am. It's my pool, my rules. I go skinny dipping if I want to. But anyway, now let's get over here and put this green egg on the grill. I'm just using my electric grill. Throw them on there and you hear them get that good sear going on. We're going to close that lid and let them sear up for a few minutes, and then we're going to give them a flip, let them go another few minutes, and then we're going in the house and y'all going to see us fixing us a BLT and eating. See what Sharon thinks about that hydroponic versus soil grown Hossinator tomato or mater. I know a lot of people say as they listen to me and my accent and they say, well, you say tomato. Well, I say that kind of being sarcastic because to me it's just a mater. Well, they done been on there 3 or 4 minutes. We finna flip these bad boys over. And it ain't gonna take but a couple minutes on this side, guys. And next y'all gonna see us in the house fixing our plates. Ain't that beautiful? Well, if you ain't never tried a green egg squash, buy you some seeds your next gardening season. You can actually still plant these and grow them before the fall in most places, because squash, they just love the heat anyway. But they stay together better than summer squash, just yellow summer squash cooking on a grill. Yellow summer squash want to fall apart when you're doing this. But y'all need to give these babies a try. I have yet cooked these for somebody that actually eats squash. Now they have to be somebody who likes squash or eggplants. But I have yet to cook these for somebody that didn't like them. Alright guys, Sharon's home, and as y'all can see, we about to eat the green egg squash. But we're gonna let her test the hydroponic versus ground Hossinator. This size, one grown in the ground. This size, one's grown in the hydroponics.
Okay.
Hydroponics are prettier.
They are prettier. That looks pretty.
We'll see if you can taste the difference in what you think. I got me some toast over here. I lightly toast my bread over here in this air fryer to make my bacon tomato sandwich. We're gonna see what she thinks versus what I thought.
Well, they taste pretty similar. But I don't know. I think the hydroponics has a little better taste to it. Maybe. It might just have to do with the ripeness of it. Which ones you like, Chris?
I said they was pretty equal.
They are pretty equal.
The hydroponics had a prettier color to it. I don't know if y'all can see that. But it could be the ripeness. Because I did.
That tastes pretty acidy too.
I pulled them a little early and let them finish ripening in the house because we have squirrel problems.
But they're close. I mean, they ain't enough difference to...
I don't think you would know the difference.
No.
Kind of like the cucumber.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was saying on the cucumber, guys. The cucumber, if we wouldn't have been eating them side by side, I don't think we'd ever knew the difference between hydroponics or the in soil.
I can't stop eating because these fresh...
Well, don't eat them all. I'm gonna make me a BLT.
These fresh tomatoes are good.
Well, let's make us a BLT.
Sounds good.
Been waiting on this since last year at this time. Well, not this time. As soon as the tomatoes stopped. Because as long as we got fresh tomatoes, we eat BLTs at least once a week.
Or more.
Starting out more.
Yeah, starting out we eat them non-stop. We go through the mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise, Miracle Whip, we're not picky. Like I was saying, guys, we got some fresh lettuce here out of the garden. But as hot as it is, you gotta be kind of ticky with your lettuce because it does start getting a bitter taste. Now I eat some of this, I'm gonna put some lettuce on. I don't know. You had to taste it. I think that's too bitter. I don't think I'm gonna ruin my sandwich putting that on there. I think it's already done got, it's pretty lettuce, but I think it's done got, that one I just ate was bitter and I don't want to run the chance. I don't think I'm gonna put this on mine. So I ain't gonna have a BLT, I'm gonna just have a what, a BT?
Well, I do have some of that store-bought lettuce.
I ain't running no fresh tomato good bacon with no store-bought lettuce. But now it probably does taste better than that. That's pretty, but I just took another bite and I just don't like that bitter taste.
Well, I'm gonna have to try it and see if I like it.
Let's see what you think. Take a little bite and see what you think. It may just be me.
Might be your taste buds.
I think it's a little bitter.
No, it's a little bitter.
That's what I'm saying.
I ain't gonna mess mine up neither.
Alright guys, so that's the end of the lettuce. We didn't even get to use our lettuce with the fresh tomatoes.
Yeah.
Because now we both agreed that's bitter. Before dark or in the morning, all the lettuce will be pulled out, fed to the chickens
Or the rabbits.
because it's done got too bitter.
But it won't be no tomatoes left in this plate. We're gonna eat them tonight.
No, it won't be no tomatoes left in this plate. You ever get out of my way, son?
Well, I mean, you in my way.
We ain't got but 3 green egg squash. We've been eating them. Them like appetizers.
And all our friends have been loving them.
I told them a while ago when I was cooking them, I have yet to cook them on the grill that someone didn't like them. If it was somebody that eats squash and eggplants to begin with. I have yet to cook one that they didn't like.
That is true.
You must couldn't find that pepper bacon this year. I mean, this is good bacon here.
When I went to the store that time, they didn't have any yet. Well, they were out of it.
Well, for all of you who ain't got tomatoes coming in yet, this bite's for you.
Ain't nothing better than a fresh tomato and bacon sandwich.
I know. I'm gonna be eating 2 of them. There won't be no tomato and no bacon left here tonight, guys.
None.
That's better than any Thanksgiving dinner I ever eat to me. I was telling them earlier. Some people love to live for Thanksgiving, Christmas. I said, well, we can cook that food all the time. We can't get a fresh tomato.
Right.
So this is our my time.
Yep. I need to take a picture and put it on my Snapchat story.
Now she's trying to rub it in because we know we're one of the first ones in our area to have fresh tomatoes.
See how long it takes for me to get a comment.
Man, that's good.
It is good.
All right, guys. See y'all on the next one.